Zenith Cablevision. Thank you for watching. It's time for talk. Each evening at this time, Monday through Friday, Rosemary interviews local personalities and others who bring items of interest to this community. Time for Talk is a community betterment service designed to cooperate with our local community betterment program. Tonight, Rosemary takes us by means of portable camera out of our studios and maybe into your neighborhood. And now, it's time for Talk.
You know how some little boys are? You buy them a new toy, and they can't wait to take the wheels off and take the ladder off and take it all apart. And then there are all the parts. I bet Marty Fowler was exactly a boy like that, because you saw that beautiful car when we came in. Now then, we walk out here, it's 6 months later, and look at these parts. All around here's a frame, the hood, no, that's the back end, and here's the lid to the rumble seat right here, and a couple of doors over here. I know that he just had great fun in taking that apart. Marty, come here. You've met Marty Fowler. We've had him on several times. He just likes old things. He even likes me.
That's right.
Okay. Marty, what am I really looking at a car body there?
Well, you're looking at parts of a tree, but that's a car body for this 31 cord. That's what holds the sheet metal up.
All right. Were they really, did all the cars start out with wood like this?
Well, the cars were an extension of the carriage industry. So they made carriages that horses pulled, and when they started making motors that would fit in carriages, they had carriages to...
Did they really do that?
Oh,
Did
yeah.
they really make motors that fit in carriages?
Don't you remember horseless carriages?
Well, yeah, but I thought it was just a word, just a name.
No, it had motors in it. They didn't
It
have
really
a horse
was a
anymore, yeah.
Oh.
So the carriage industry kind of expanded into cars because that was the next place to go.
You see what I learned when I get out and do this?
And that's the way they made carriages, with wood, and then they tacked leather over them or tin or something, you know, to keep the elements out.
Okay.
And they put a canvas top on them to keep the rain out.
Yeah.
So they started making cars the same way, and this is 1931. This is getting close to the end of that idea.
And then they put a fringe on the top.
Oh, yeah,
fringe
with
the
fringe on top,
okay.
yeah.
Now, how did you get the parts for this? How did you make?
Well, we had the bad wood to start with.
Okay.
And it had ends rotted off of it, or, you know, not termite damage, but, you know, it was rot damage. And you take the old part off and use it for a pattern and make a new piece and screw it in there with slot head screws, because that's all they had back then.
And I imagine you just sat and whittled every night to get the parts to get the parts to fit. See that right there?
At least now we have, you know, power tools.
Oh, okay.
I'm not the woodworker. Roy Dawson and Ron Llewellyn are the woodworkers.
Okay, so 3 of you have worked on this car.
We'll all work on this car to get it done.
Now, is this a piece of the original that you could use?
Yeah, if it's still dark color, that's the original wood. And we had to make all the light colored wood from the original pieces.
So that was what was really bothering whoever wanted this restored, that the wood was rotting.
Actually, we didn't know the wood was rotting until we started taking the car apart.
Oh,
and we didn't know we were going to have to do that part.
Okay.
And the body skin it's steel, but it's just tacked onto the wood. They lay it over there, and they use a hammer and tacks and tack the steel to the wood frame, because that's the way they did it. They weld 2 or 3 pieces of it together, and then they tack it on the wood to keep it on there.
Okay.
And it was all just kind of sagging on the metal car frame because the wood was going away at the bottom. It was just slowly setting down. Well, we can go look in the other room where more parts are. It's what's left of what we were taking apart. It's kind of the end of the car wreck in the other room.
All right, let's go look at the car wreck.
When we get done, if you want to take a picture of that flyer.
Oh, look at this. Isn't this a shame from that beautiful car that was... Does all of this, Marty, does all of this go with...
All of it goes with that kind of, all those parts over in the shelves over there.
Over there?
All the little parts.
They'll never get it back together. They'll never get it back together. Don't say that?
Don't say that.
Well, they've got a year's deadline, or a year and a half, you know, with you up to. I see a sign that says here, threads cleaned.
Yeah, you got to clean all those threads because that's a water jacket. Those threads got to be perfectly clean. You put sealer back on them when you put that plate back. And this is most of the front end sheet metal and the rear fenders to the car. And for an old car, all this is in really good shape. It never had a wreck. It didn't get rusted out very bad, and it's all really nice for a car in 1931. It doesn't have to have a lot of repair. It has to have a lot of straightening up and smoothing out, but you know, we don't have to make sections or anything. The worst part's the spare tire well where it kind of rusted in there a little bit. Now there's a dash to the car, and it still looks like a nice piece of equipment that could go back in, and probably that will be one of the last pieces that goes back in.
Now you don't have to do anything to
we'll
that.
have to take it completely apart and redo all it too. We got to repaint the black, so you have to take it apart. And some of the little buttons, the chrome's worn off of them. But the neat part, the silver part of that is exactly that.
And
it's German silver.
Oh, it is?
Yeah, it's not chrome or nickel, it's German silver. That's how they did it at the glove box stores. German silver, and all the dash bezels are German silver. They just thought that was, you know, they were making an expensive car, and silver.
How much did this car cost when it was new on the showroom?
About $3,000.
My.
When a Ford was $350 maybe.
Okay.
So that puts it in perspective. And it was in a depression, so you know they didn't sell very many. And people didn't want to be real obvious if they had money, so they didn't buy a big fancy car. So they didn't sell a lot of these, but these were.
But it had a silver dash.
Yeah, real silver.
Oh.
Yeah. Those are the front brakes, and they're inboard brakes, and that's the differential. And this aluminum cover, you can't tell it's painted, but you can peck on it and tell it's aluminum, which was pretty unusual in cars, and it got rid of heat better. That came from the brand new aircraft industry, which was just beginning to go, and the man that owned the Auburn Duesenberg company owned aircraft manufacturing company. And so that's why they could use aluminum. They were already making it, and they had the technology.
And what is
it? Didn't come in cheap cars. That's a brake cover, and it dissipates the heat. There's some little holes for the air to get in. It just gets the heat away from the brakes because they were inside. And that comes from aircraft. That was kind of an aircraft thing.
All right, now this tire, Marty's seen lots of road miles. You know, that looks like the one on my 72 Maverick.
Yeah, well, you need to get your tires changed. You're going to have a blowout. This is just probably how far they let it wear down before they changed the tire.
You know,
this came off of a cord.
I had a flat the other day.
It came off of one of these cars.
I had a flat the other day and called the man out to come and get it and change it. And he said, he called back and he said, how old was that tire? It just disintegrated in my hands when I started to fix it.
It's been okay all this time.
Well, I asked, you know, things just don't last.
Not anymore, do they? That's a shame. Probably the original tire.
All right, what about it? Are the sizes of these tires still standard?
Well, you can still buy these tires in reproduction, but they don't really fit anything that anybody's making now. Although these are 18-inch wheels. And some of these newer cars got those fancy chrome wheels up to 22 inches, but back then, 18-inch wheel was a pretty tall wheel.
Okay.
They only use it on big cars and trucks because these cars are so heavy. That frame would almost make a bridge across a ditch around here somewhere. It's so strong.
I can tell. That is massive. That is massive.
It's riveted together just like a bridge.
And you're going to take them all apart?
No, I'm not going to take the rivets
out. You don't have to take the rivets out.
You don't go that far. You just go down to that.
All right.
And it would hold a lot of weight. I mean, they were really concerned because they were long, but that's a almost quarter-inch thick frame.
It is.
I don't make anything like that anymore. But it had to hold up a lot of weight. That's probably 5,000, almost 6,000 pound car, and your poor little Maverick could be maybe 2,100 pounds.
With me in at 22.
Well, 2,150.
Okay. All right.
Well, since the transmission was in the front of the car, they had to devise a linkage for the shifter, because here's the actual shifter that changes gears on the transmission, but you can't reach it from inside the car, which is way behind the motor. So they devised a long rod and a linkage system that comes through here and a pivot to work this lever. And so you had a long lever in the car that came all the way out here in front of the car to change gears on the transmission.
You know, these early designs are amazing.
Oh, for what they were doing, this is 1929 stuff, engineering, and it's amazing that they had a front wheel drive car. And basically all the joints, and I'll show you a drive shaft if you got a Okay, now this is a front wheel drive car, and there were very few of them back then, and look at today where almost everything's front wheel drive. This is the beginnings of front-wheel drive, and this is the shaft that ran from the differential out to drive the front wheel. And all these bearings and joints, both places, they had to design from scratch because no one else had ever done front-wheel drive cars. And these designs are still basically the same design they're using now.
Now, did the Mercedes that you talked about, did it have front-wheel drive?
No, this was the only car.
Oh, okay.
A Cord and a Ruxton. There was a Ruxton.
Never heard of a Ruxton.
Well, they didn't make very many.
Okay, all right, okay.
I think they made a couple of hundred of them in St. Louis, and that was the end of it. And I don't know where they got their parts, but this drive went all the way through 1937 until the company went broke, or they let it go broke. And this is the same basic design as they're using now, and they designed it in 1929.
Now, what will you do to this?
We have some more. This is the ones that came out of the car. We have a couple that are already rebuilt.
Okay.
The parts are enough different that you can't find any parts now, but there's a machinist that will make new parts and put them in there.
And so he will take this one and probably redo
Well,
this
we've
one?
already got 2 more spares redone, so we just, after we get the car done, we'll send these to him, and we'll have 2 more spares. That's what you do when you got really old cars, you have spares.
Okay, now, Marty, we want the finished product.
How soon will you be needing that?
Well, before I die.
Oh, well, then we'll try to
I
hurry,
figure
you
you may
probably got
have
20 more years left, so we may make it.
All right, how long did I understand really that you may have a deadline of next August,
Yeah,
which is a year and a half?
Yeah, we'll probably make it.
So 2 years is standard for working on one of these cars?
Well, we didn't plan on 2 years on this one, but when we got into having to replace wood, it's going to make it take longer.
Okay, and
But
so
a year easy on any of them.
and in their spare time, I think they whittled on the wood to make it
yeah.
the parts work.
Smooth it up a little bit.
All right, now we're going to come back and get. Will it look like the original? Are you going to paint it the same color?
Same color and everything. It's going to be this color, these 2 colors still.
Okay, all right. We'll show you the original.
Yeah, we hope it looks better than before we started.
I don't see how it can.
Oh,
But anyway, we will see. We're going to compare because we've got pictures.
Well, we'll give it our best effort for you.
All right.
Now there's a dash to the car, and it still looks like a nice piece of equipment that could go back in, and probably that will be one of the last pieces that goes back
Now,
in.
you don't have to do anything to
We'll
that.
have to take it completely apart and redo all it too. We got to repaint the black, so you have to take it apart. And some of the little buttons, the chrome's worn off of them. But the neat part, the silver part of that is exactly that.
And
It's German silver.
oh, it is.
Yeah, it's not chrome or nickel, it's German silver. That's how they did it at the glove box stores. German silver, and all the dash bezels are German silver. They just thought that was, they were making an expensive car, and silver
How much
was,
did this car cost when it was new on the showroom?
about $3,000.
My.
When a Ford was $350 maybe.
Okay.
So that puts it in perspective. And it was in a depression, so they didn't sell very many. And people didn't want to be real obvious if they had money, so they didn't buy a big fancy car. So they didn't sell a lot of these, but these were.
But it had a silver dash.
Yeah, real silver.
Oh.
Yeah.
Now, this is much harder to get into than my Maverick,
Yes.
and I'm sitting on the floor practically.
Almost, yeah.
Okay, tell me about what I'm seeing here.
Oh, well, this is a glove box in case you had a pair of gloves. Hey, room for one pair of gloves.
And I've got a fan right
yeah,
here.
that's air conditioner. Yeah, that's air conditioner.
Yeah.
Here's the radio. Yeah, doesn't it look like a radio? One of those old 1932 radios at home?
Right, boy, this is impressive looking up here. Now, what's this?
That's the shifter.
Is that the shift?
That's it. It's unusual. You go straight in, and you go straight back. You go straight in, and say, that's low gear. And then you pull it straight back, and that's second gear. This is a, you can't see them. This is for the air horns. They're on the other side under the hood, and if you pull that, it sounds like a diesel locomotive. Yeah.
Really? Really? That's the horn down here.
Air horns.
Okay.
This is the regular old horn.
Oh, is this a Ooga?
Well, you can listen to it. That's it. Oh, that hurts. That hurts. Yeah, they're right here.
Okay.
And there's the fuel gauge, and there's the oil level gauge. That tells you how high the oil is in the engine.
Okay.
Not how much pressure, how deep it is in the pan. About 11 quarts, I think.
Really?
Mm-hmm. Big oil pan.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
You have been watching Time for Talk. Time for Talk is brought to you through the cooperation of Kennett Cablevision Incorporated and is produced through the facilities of the Slicer Street Church.